I never expected a single moment to change everything, but that's exactly what happened on a cloudy afternoon at the local community center. It was a volunteer drive, painting murals, sorting donated clothes, and handing out hot meals. I'd signed up more out of obligation than desire, hoping to earn service hours for college. But then I saw him. He stood beside a stack of canned goods, casually cracking jokes that made the volunteers around him laugh. His name was Eli. He had this quiet confidence, a voice that was calm but sure, and eyes that looked like they'd seen too much for someone our age. When our eyes met, something shifted. "First time volunteering?" he asked, handing me a box of juice packs. "Yeah, you?" He smirked. "Third, it grows on you." That simple exchange marked the beginning. We ended up on the same team, sorting supplies and chatting about everything from movies to our favorite foods. He listened in a way that made me feel important, like every word I said had weight. By the second week, we were texting after every event. He'd send me songs that reminded him of our conversations. We even shared playlists. I found myself smiling more, waking up excited just to see if he was at the next event. One evening, as the sun dipped low and cast golden light over the sidewalk, Eli walked me home. "You know," he said, hands in his pockets, "you're different. Easy to talk to. Most people pretend, but you don't." I looked at him, unsure of what to say. "You're not like most people either." He paused, then glanced sideways. "I've messed up a lot. Family stuff, school stuff. I don't always make the best choices. But when I'm around you, I feel like maybe I could get it right." His honesty touched something deep in me. Vulnerability wasn't something I was used to, especially from boys. I admired it, trusted it. We started spending more time together, at parks, cafes, and once, even at the public library where we joked about being old souls. Our friends started teasing us. "Just date already," they'd say. We laughed it off, but I could feel the shift, the closeness, the longing. One night after a late volunteer shift, Eli looked at me differently, more serious, more open. "Can I ask you something?" I nodded. "Would you stay over after the event next weekend? Just hang out? Maybe watch a movie? I'll make dinner." His voice was soft, not pushy, just hopeful. My heart thudded. I hesitated, not out of fear, but because it mattered. He mattered. "Okay," I said. He smiled like he'd been waiting for that answer. I didn't know it then, but that yes would be the beginning of everything, and the unraveling of something I never saw coming. Saturday arrived with a kind of nervous anticipation I hadn't felt in years. Eli had sent a simple text. "Still on for tonight?" I replied with a heart, trying to quiet the mix of excitement and unease swirling in my chest. He met me outside the community center after the volunteer shift, holding 2 steaming cups of hot chocolate. "You ready?" he asked with a crooked grin. His apartment was small but warm. Soft lights, books stacked unevenly on shelves, a few faded movie posters on the wall. He'd cooked something simple, pasta with too much garlic, but I didn't mind. The effort meant more than the taste. We sat on the floor, legs crossed, plates in hand, while an old romantic comedy played in the background. He laughed at all, the wrong moments, and kept glancing over at me like I was more interesting than the movie. As the night wore on, the space between us grew smaller. At some point, we weren't just sitting, we were leaning. My head found his shoulder, and his fingers gently traced lines along my hand. "I don't want to ruin this," he whispered. "Whatever this is." I turned to look at him. "Then don't." He kissed me, soft, uncertain, like he was asking permission with every breath. And I gave it, not with words, but in the way I leaned closer, in the way I let myself trust him completely. Later, we lay side by side, not saying much. His fingers brushed my hair from my face. "I meant what I said before," he murmured. "You make me feel like I can be better." That moment felt suspended in time, a kind of safety I hadn't known I craved. I believed him. But something shifted the next morning. He wasn't cold or cruel, just distant. Like a curtain had fallen between us. He avoided eye contact, mumbled excuses about errands, and barely touched his phone. "You okay?" I asked, as I gathered my things. "Yeah, just tired. Got stuff on my mind." He hugged me goodbye, but it felt mechanical, like a habit rather than a feeling. I told myself not to overthink it, not to read too much into a single moment, but I couldn't ignore the sinking in my chest. Days passed with silence. The long texts and sweet voice notes disappeared. I reached out and he replied, but short, one word, sometimes just emojis. My friend said he was probably just overwhelmed, maybe needed space. But I knew something was off. That night had meant something to me. It felt like the beginning of something real. But now, standing in the middle of uncertainty, I began to wonder if it had meant the same to him, or if I had been reading a different story entirely. It happened on a Thursday afternoon. I was walking home from class when my phone buzzed. A message from Maya, one of the other volunteers. "Hey, I thought you should see this. I'm so sorry." Attached was a screenshot, blurry but unmistakable. A group chat titled Boys Only. Eli's name sat at the top, followed by a message he'd written. "Told y'all I could get her. Easy. She fell for everything." My heart stalled. There were laughing emojis, thumbs up, jokes from others I recognized, guys who'd helped sort clothes and deliver meals alongside us. One even said, "Classic Eli. You always win the bet." Bet? I reread it twice, hoping I misunderstood. But the more I stared, the more the words felt like knives carving away every soft moment we'd shared. My hands trembled. I called him. No answer. I texted, "Eli, what is this? Is this real?" No reply. Hours passed. Silence. When he finally responded that night, it was casual. "Hey, what's going on?" Like he hadn't just detonated the only relationship I'd allowed myself to trust. I sent him the screenshot. His reply came 5 minutes later. "It's not what it looks like." I called him, voice shaking. "Then what is it, Eli? Explain it to me." He hesitated. "It was just a joke, a stupid thing. I didn't mean for it to get out." "So it's true?" My voice cracked. "There was a bet?" He sighed. "Look, some of the guys said I couldn't get close to you. I was mad at them. I wanted to prove I could. But it wasn't supposed to be serious. Then, I guess it turned into something. I didn't expect that. Didn't expect me to care? Didn't expect himself to be caught? Did any of it mean anything to you?" I asked. There was a pause. Then, barely above a whisper, "I don't know." That broke me more than any screenshot ever could. I hung up without saying goodbye. I didn't cry right away. I sat in silence, staring at the wall, trying to reconcile the boy who had kissed my forehead with the one who used my trust like a dare. Later that night, I broke. Not because I lost him, but because I'd given so much of myself to someone who saw me as a game. It wasn't just heartbreak. It was betrayal. And worse, it was public. People knew. People laughed. I became someone's punchline. And yet, some small, fragile part of me still wondered, was any of it real? But the answer no longer mattered. The boy I thought I knew was gone. For days, I moved through the world like a shadow of myself. The community center, once a place of warmth and meaning, now felt cold and hollow. I skipped 2 volunteer shifts, dreading the sideways glances and whispered conversations. The pain wasn't just about Eli. It was about who I had become while I was with him, open, vulnerable, trusting, and how quickly all of that had been weaponized against me. One afternoon, Maya found me sitting alone behind the center, knees drawn to my chest. "I heard what happened," she said softly. I nodded, unable to meet her eyes. "You didn't deserve that. No one does." Her words hit like a balm. I hadn't realized how badly I needed someone to say it, not because I wanted pity, but because I needed truth. "I feel stupid," I whispered, like I handed him the match and watched him burn everything down. You loved with your whole heart, she replied. That's never stupid. That's brave. Her kindness cracked something open. For the first time in days, I cried, not out of shame, but out of release. In the weeks that followed, I returned to the community center, not for Eli, but for myself. I avoided him. He made a few attempts to speak, but I gave him nothing. Not out of bitterness, but because I no longer owed him my energy. I poured myself into the work, organizing food drives, painting walls, even mentoring new volunteers. Each small act stitched me back together, piece by piece. I discovered that healing wasn't a single moment. It was a quiet, daily decision to move forward. One evening, while organizing supply kits, a boy around 12 approached me. He'd been quiet for most of the session, shy and withdrawn. You always smile when you work, he said. I blinked, surprised. Yeah? He nodded. It makes this place feel safe. Something in my chest swelled. That's when I realized Eli may have taken something from me, but he didn't destroy me. He couldn't. Because the parts of me that mattered, the empathy, the strength, the ability to care deeply, were still intact. I'd once thought romance was the centerpiece of my story, but now I saw it differently. My story wasn't about the boy who betrayed me. It was about the girl who found herself again after the fall. Months passed. Life moved on. And though scars remained, they no longer defined me. I'd learned to trust again, starting with myself. And if one day love came knocking at my door again, I would open it. Carefully, wisely, but not fearfully. Because I had already survived the worst. And I was still standing.